Business Profiles. This week on the Bob Profiles, Sheena Robinson discusses her book, Financial Parenthood, and the Financial Academy.
So a little bit about my vision. Everything started, I moved here in 2008. Let me back. I moved back here in 2007. I graduated from college. I'm originally from Arkansas. So I moved from Arkansas. I had an aunt who lived here, and I always knew I wanted to do something big with my life, but just didn't know what it was going to be. Thought I was going to go to college here, but it didn't happen. But eventually I made my way to Georgia. And so when I got here, I started working for corporate, and then I finally realized this really isn't what I want to do with myself. And so I was introduced to the financial industry in 2008. And I went and checked out, a company. They taught me so much information, which was just phenomenal. And I wanted to be a part of that. And so after getting the information and, the presentations of how to actually financially educate people, my number one thing was, wow, my community needs this. And so from that, I was a part of the company, and I started going out here educating adults about financial literacy. And then after hearing so many stories of adults saying, I wish somebody would have told me this when I was younger, I was like, there is obviously a problem, right? And so thinking of my own childhood, I wasn't told that I could be an entrepreneur. I wasn't taught, go open your account, start saving at a young age. And so within me, it was just something needed to be done as early as possible, and not when you get to adulthood and you start making these bad financial decisions, which I found myself in that situation when I got to Georgia. My mom had helped build my credit. Got out here, got my car, got my place, and not understanding how important it was to keep my credit score up. I'm just out here living my best life, right? And next thing I know, my credit was messed up. And so after getting the financial literacy and just understanding the financial game more, I felt like there needed to be something to help more people like myself. And so I decided to go out and write this book that we're here to talk about today, Financial Parenthood. Financial Parent Academy, that came second after the book. The process of writing the book, wow, that process was a very long process. It was, of course, my first book, and I wanted to make sure it was right. And so because I'm a perfectionist, it took quite a minute for it. But I wrote everything, and most people when they're starting a book, they're like, how do I start? Well, for me, I just wrote all my thoughts out on paper. And then after writing them out on paper, I submitted it to a book publishing company here locally, and they, told me how much it would be to edit my book and help me make it more friendly. And so I went ahead and invested in that. And so after doing that, it took a minute in the editing process. I feel like it took like a year and a half for this book to actually come out. It wasn't a very fast process, but because I didn't understand the book publishing process, I was just being patient. But we got the book out, and then after the book came out, I didn't really do a lot of marketing with this book as well. And so I know, we're going to talk more about that and how overall the Academy is doing things. But it just started with me wanting to be able to create a system for parents to follow so that we can help raise more financially responsible children out here. So I wanted to make sure that it was age specific because as we talk about at our academy, you can't teach a kindergartner what you can teach a 12th grader, and vice versa an adult. And so it was really just getting the mindset of it being a school. Like, how would you literally teach this where kids can understand at a school age? And then we also broke it down based on teaching financial accounts and financial education. Because I'm a financial professional, I understand the importance of the rule of 72 and letting your money work for you. So I wanted parents to understand the earlier they start putting money away in accounts, they have longer time for the money to grow, and that they can, help their kids if they want to go to college, if they don't get a scholarship, or if they want to get a new car or buy a down payment for a house. So I wanted to be able to help them understand, not only educate them, but also start investing in accounts as well. But I do want to just emphasize some things. So first and foremost, it happened to me this morning, actually. My 1-year-old saw the piggy bank and he grabs for the piggy bank. So he's already interested in what this thing is. My 3-year-old, she's already understanding to put money in the piggy bank. And I say that to say with parents, the whole concept of what we're doing at Financial Parent Academy is helping parents become more intentional about teaching their children financial literacy. And so for a 4-year-old, starting the conversation with introducing them with a simple concept as the piggy bank, or if you have, the savings jar, but it's helping them understand the concept of pay yourself first. And with that, just helping them understand that when you see something around the house, we're going to put it into this piggy bank. So we're building the mindset that I'm paying myself, and that when I get this, change, or if I get monetary, like dollars or whatever, we're putting it all in the piggy bank. Again, when it comes with money, you have to make it fun, right? And so at 4, they're learning to count. They're already, or they should be, in some type of preschool setting. And so you're just really playing to what they already know. But they are having an object now, versus sometimes people learn by blocks. Well, we're going to teach by money. And so help get them excited about just really touching and feeling, because the understanding of it, I don't really feel like they understand the true meaning of it, but they understand from watching. They're seeing an exchange. Like my 4-year-old, she's in the store with me. She's seeing that I have a card and I'm paying with something. She's in my wallet. She's messing with my, my debit cards and all my cards. And so they're understanding, they're watching. And that's one of the things that I tell people. Your children are going to learn subconsciously by watching, and you not knowing what they're watching until one day you see them doing it and you're like, how is she doing that? She watched you do that. Or in this case with Financial Parent Academy, we want to teach them to be intentional. And that book, when I talked about breaking it down at different age levels, that's to help parents be intentional based on that child's age of what information they can actually take in and be able to reciprocate and take action on. My favorites are probably elementary. And that's because they're just hungry to learn. And they are the ones, that sometimes are underestimated. They're the ones at that young age that are really subconsciously watching what's going on. And so being that I have a 9-year-old, I say that from experience, because she is literally soaking up everything that she's watching, but at the same time she's so hungry to learn, and she's curious, and she's like, Mom, what's this? Mom, what does that mean? And so they're just so curious. And so I would say that's my favorite. And then with the younger kids, I wouldn't say my 3 and 4-year-old, I wouldn't say that they're not my favorites, but it is a little bit more work. And we all know that. So your patience definitely has to be there. The high schooler, it's a give and take with that. Because, I have some high schoolers who, they're hungry as well to learn. But I feel like if I could have got them a little younger, they probably would be a little bit more well off. Though they're easier to teach, the creativity has to be a little bit more there for them. You definitely can't just have a college structured course with them. You have to make it interactive. You have to allow them to see how this is actually going to be applicable to my life. And that's why one of the things that I talk about first is vision. Help these young people, especially high schools, you got to talk about, help them see how they want to see their lives. Do I want this car? Do I want this house? Unfortunately, it's materialistic things that get their attention. And so let's talk about first, what are these things that you're trying to obtain? What is this lifestyle you want? And from there, then we can talk about how can you get there. So I feel like once I talk about the vision that they have inside, then they're going to be more willing to listen to me on how they can actually make it happen. So, I do want to say, for me, this is a ministry for me, first and foremost. It's a business, because most people think nonprofit, no money. You do have to pay the bills. And so when I first started, I met with a lot of investors and just potential people who want to see how they can help. And they're like, how can you make money from this? And over the years, when I first started out, it was just like, oh, we're going to get some sponsorships and maybe some donors. But when you really understand that it's a ministry, but it's a business, it's more than that. And so now we have membership programs where the main focus with Financial Parent Academy is to teach first that you need to be in a space where first it's intentionality that we teach you, and then you have access, and then you have an environment. And so within this membership program, you're going to get access to be around other parents who are on that same level. And I think a lot of people crave for community. And if you look at a lot of other business models, they're providing community. So it's really, getting people on the same page who want to do this. And I feel like when they see other people, because we are people who, when we see other people, we want to get involved. So I feel like when you see other people experiencing some of the things and the value that you can get from a program such as ours, it's going to allow you to want to make that change and be a part of it. Now, we also have a certification program coming out. Because how, like you said, what would make me want to do this, right? And so the book is actually turned into a certification program within this membership to really start this movement to help parents get excited. And it's really about helping parents understand the importance of helping their children learn how to take control of their time. And even with the parents, taking back their time. Because, and I know we're probably going to talk about a little later with this pandemic, but a lot of people are out here hurting. They're not able to live the lives they want to live. They're working either 2 or 3 jobs trying to provide, because a lot of people, they can't even afford the gas right now. Financial Parent Academy is probably at 25%. I don't feel like I've taken it to 100%. And I feel like the pandemic allowed me to go back in, like you just asked me about that question, and really ask myself, what are the programs people need right now? What is it that children need? I don't want to just we don't just talk about money. Kids need confidence. Parents need to understand if they don't like what they're doing, they can get into this thing called entrepreneurship. And so we do want to provide some programs for parents to understand that there are tools, there are resources out here if you want to help take your life to the next level. And so for me, the pandemic just allowed me to just bring it in, get quiet, and just listen from God, and just really, get the programming together, so that we're basically going to do a whole new relaunch is what it did for us. Because in the beginning we were doing workshops and it was great and it was in person, but the pandemic allowed me to see, you got to go online with this thing. You can't really build a sustainable business. It can be a fair business just doing in person, but you can touch so many more people by doing an online business, by having an online course, just giving people more access. Other challenges, I don't feel like they've just been challenges. Well, I will say this. When it comes to helping schools, a lot of people want to do that for free. And so me coming out into this arena and really trying to make it profitable, I had to understand that. That's something everybody's like, go talk to the schools. Well, there's different parameters of how to get into schools. And so learning that game, because, if you want to go and talk, you can go talk, but don't expect to be compensated for that unless you know who to talk to and the different programming that can pay you as a public speaker, and not so much as this volunteer program. And so just really understanding that, because I have so many people, yeah, you can come speak here, can you help us? And so, really making it profitable. A lot of it has come out of my own pocket, but that's not a business. And so in this season, really just taking everything I've absorbed over these last 5 years and really making a stronger platform and more profitable business with Financial Parent Academy, so we can serve more people, because it takes money to serve. And there's so many things that, I have a vision for to help people. But we can't do that without money. And so definitely talking to the right people and helping them understand, like you asked, how can this be profitable? We have merchandise, we have books. All that is coming back into the academy as well as traditional things such as sponsorships and grants and things of that nature. Now that we're 5 years, we have a stronger track record. And so we're looking forward to just building this thing and building it strong. So the other 75%, I would go and I would do a lot of vendor opportunities, just really getting the word out. The marketing, I just really don't feel like I've taken it to that level as far as giving it the exposure. And a lot of that came from fear, believe it or not, just really because I talked about in the beginning, being a perfectionist, is it really the right time? Am I really doing the right things? I really don't want to mess this thing up. But in my heart, I feel that this is the season. And so I'm very, very focused on helping get this academy to the next level. So I have talked to different churches, but to just take it up a notch, back to your question about the 25%, it's not there like it should be. I've done public speaking for parents and, things like that. But as far as the children and actually offering the course and how to get in, that goes back to, are they willing to pay for it, right? Because, but I know it can be successful, right? But you have to package everything where people see the outcome, and is it an outcome that they're looking for? And so I definitely want to be able to talk to more churches. I've already connected with a lot of other nonprofit organizations who bring me into their youth groups and speak and do different activities. Not only do we have a structural type of setting when people come to the actual academy for the classes, but I do go out and do customized workshops for different other nonprofit organizations, and as I mentioned, some churches have brought me out before as well. I've seen some of my, well, they were third graders when they came to me, and now they're like in middle school. So I've just seen like their mindset around money, them saving more, being more conscious of, needs versus wants. And so their parents are very intentional about letting me know, she's doing really well in this area, and just their understanding. And so they don't feel like as the parents, they don't feel like they can't have these conversations with them. There's a more confidence in the household around money, and it's not one of those taboo subjects where they feel like they can't talk about it. And I mentioned this in the book. A lot of people, they don't start because they feel like their finances are not in order, or they just don't know. And so I am very fortunate to be partnered with another organization that actually has workshops for parents where they're at right now. If you're in debt, you want to learn investing, there's 5 different workshops that organization offers. And so with that partnership, if parents are not happy with their financial situation, I'm able to introduce them to that partnership, and they're able to get that training. When it comes to financial parenting, I don't really require that. I just require a willing spirit, because I'm going to train you from day one on everything you need to know. So as long as you have an open mind and want to learn, you don't have to worry about your financial situation. The main thing is get started. Like I just talked about, fear. A lot of people allow fear to hold them back. And so do your research, because getting out, everybody think the entrepreneurship life is glamorous. There are hardships that come with that. And so make sure it's not something, I have these different conversations, and there are debates, but for me, I do believe whatever it is inside you, your gift will make room for you. Sometimes I feel like businesses don't work because we see other people doing it, and we're like, oh, I want to do that too, and it's not coming from the right place. But if you really have this gift in you, and that's really what God has really ordained for you, then it's going to work. And so first and foremost, I would say to pray and make sure that's where you should be. And then secondly, do your research, find a mentor. And when it comes to the book, so many people are like, what should I do? I always tell people, start with your chapters, right? What do you want to talk about? Get 10 to 12 things you want to talk about for your topics. And then each day or week, however you want to do it, you take that one chapter and just start writing. Don't worry about structure, just get it all out. And once they do that, then find you someone to edit, and your process has started. And then also get that cover done. And the cover can be the first thing, to be honest with you, if you have that vision about what you want that book to look like. And for me, once I got my cover, it was just more inspiration. It felt more real. And so as long as you get started, no matter how small the step is, then it's just going to give you this feeling of accomplishment, and you're going to want to do more towards that. And then as far as the business side, I would say there are different programs out here, whether it be a SBA or small, whether it be chambers. Get connected and just really learn. And you're not going to know everything. I still learn. But there's so many programs. I'm very fortunate to be connected to a community where I've signed up for things. And so I'm constantly getting all these workshops that are out here. And so there's no lack of getting the information. It's just that willingness. And so if it's really something that's planted in you, if it's something you're willing to fight for, it's going to happen for you. And just don't give up along the way.